On today's episode of the Saturday Doobie Feature, the world's #1 movie and marijuana show in the world, we're striking back. Call us the Empire. It's The Empire Strikes Back. Episode 5.
No, wait. 5.
That's right.
Got it. Welcome back to the Saturday Doobie Feature. I'm your host, Byron.
I'm Justin.
And we are talking about The Empire Strikes Back, so let's get it started.
I really was like aggressively, I'm Justin! I'm not, but I'm Justin. I got to do the Harrison Ford thing from last week.
Oh, yeah. You got to keep on going with it.
I'm Justin.
Now that...
Shit.
Hey.
Shit.
Yeah.
My nipples are hard. Did that work? No, that kind of actually made my wiener go down. The Empire Strikes Back, 1980.
Yeah, let's get it started.
History's most successful sequel? I'm saying it. We're going to throw out these proclamations right quick.
I ain't disagreeing with it.
You
so
know?
Let's get it started.
You know, why was it so successful? I think that's what we're going to talk about today.
Shit, let's see.
First off, you know, we always want to shout out our favorite shops that hook it up for us. Zen NoHo gave it to us with De Niro. If you're, it's for taxi drivers. I don't know. Couldn't make it. I should have wrote a joke before.
Oh, you talking
about it? Hey. De Niro.
Oh, you talking to me?
A nice indica dominant. Smells really nice and you know, a little piney in there, a little cheesy. It's really nice for this ice cold film. You know, filmed on location in Norway for a lot of it for these hot. Excuse me, hot scenes. And
amazing.
Yeah, so
great. It's like, have you ever seen any other intro that just like I don't want to say slowly starts, but it just rushes into a crazy situation like it does.
So New Hope ends and they make this really cool decision. They're like, let's give it a little bit of time and really like, we're gonna do, it's the same thing that I was talking about last week. Like, they developed the story, but at no point did you feel left behind, but at no point was it over explained too. So they're like, they're putting you in the midst of the battle on Hoth. They don't really explain why they're there. All you know is that the rebels are holed up there.
They kept you with the pace. It was a nice pace, and they kept it.
I want to use this time to give a special shout out to Lee Brackett, who gets not a lot of credit in the history of female screenwriters. She was like a classic, like science fiction writer back in the day. George Lucas became so busy with his like other production roles. You know, he that's why Lawrence Kasdan was you know, directing Irvin Kershner is directing. Lawrence Kasdan from Lawrence of Arabia, right? He worked on that and stuff. So he helped write it because George Lucas, the special effects took off so much after Star Wars. He was like, well, I want to focus on that a little bit more. I want to make sure that the production side is really dialed in because no movie has really had the scope that these movies have had before. So Lee Brackett did the first draft of Empire Strikes Back, and so much of what became classic in this movie is to her, I will say, to her credit. So yeah, again.
My God.
Ripping it for you, Lee Brackett, but very sadly passed of cancer, I think even before the movie came out. And the only thing really that was not from her draft is that she had Luke's father be like kind of this different Force ghost person. It wasn't Vader. So that's what kind of you know, George Lucas was like, nah, we really want to tie this all in together with what we set up in.
I mean, most of it worked. Some subtle changes here and
Absolutely.
there.
I mean, it really shows how they adapted so well for things like we were talking earlier. You have the Wampa scene. So it starts out with this really cool, like really felt like this crazy monster.
You felt like you were Luke trapped.
Like they never really had a monster like that. I mean, like even Jabba at the time wasn't a monster like that. You never felt like in danger in that way in this alien world, an alien monster, literally. And that was kind of adapted because Mark Hamill had this motorcycle accident before the movie was even in production.
So they had to write it in, you know.
You know, it wasn't like Back to the Future. They couldn't just get Michael J. Fox to come down and be Luke Skywalker. Now, hey, ba-bum. It's that fucking De Niro. That's what happens when you smoke that fucking De Niro. Now I know why they call it that.
Exactly.
So I think what also is so great about Empire Strikes Back, or why we love it so much, is that they took it in a little bit more of an adult direction, but they also made it more weird. At no point was it compromised in any way.
Yeah.
You meet who? Where is he? Where is he? You meet this guy in the Dagobah. You go to you're on Hoth with all the other monsters. You meet this guy, Boba.
Me, Lando.
You ever drank this guy, Boba Fett? No,
I haven't.
Boba T Fett. Halloween costume idea, free for you guys. Boba T Fett. Why not?
That could actually work.
Yeah. I might change my Instagram handle. No, I'm kidding. But the movie still went in these other directions. It wasn't just this one-note space opera. It got weird. Really put you in the trenches there of their world.
And like what I enjoyed about that beginning scene on Hoth with the Wampa was how at first was it in the first cut that released like VHS where you see him escape, gets the lightsaber, cuts the arm off, and then you literally get a close up or a good like frame of the arm just there chilling, cut off. You see the creature in pain and all that. And then afterwards, like a couple years later, they changed it up, like they took it out. I was kind of disappointed with that, you know, like you didn't feel
making
like,
it more family friendly.
Yeah, but like that's what, like you were saying, they were making it more driven towards adult wise.
You gotta relax. You have to dab some of these CBDs because I feel you're upset.
I am upset. I hate when they do that.
See, now you're affected the same way that maybe the original generation was affected when they actually saw all these changes coming through. Because, like I said last week, when they were doing these theater re-releases and stuff like that, like I was on the news. Like I went to a midnight showing for like one of my birthday parties, like in '97 when it came out. I was like 9 or 10 years old. But they interviewed me on the news. They're like, "Why do you like Star Wars?" I was like, "Because they told me to." You know, no, I didn't really say that. Point being, Empire Strikes Back, the greatest sequel of all time. What is Empire also famous for? Probably the greatest twist.
Greatest plot reveal.
Of cinema history.
Ending as well. So let's talk about that. Greatest reveal and how they kept the secret. I feel, now, they had to have had like scripts given to them the day.
Well, they didn't. The line wasn't in the script though.
Okay.
Like that line was tossed out to Mark Hamill, and they're like, "Hey, you got to make sure you say this." And like nobody, unless you were there in the room, you didn't know. Yeah. And then the classic like Homer Simpson, you know, you're walking out of the theater like, "Man, I can't believe Darth Vader is Luke's father." Like it was so easy to break that at any time, but they kept it secret. They kept it hidden.
It must have been hard. You gotta like really think about it. Like it must have been fucking hard to keep secret.
Well, it's like any conspiracy, you know? Like, if you're one of the only 20 people in the room, it's not that hard to keep a secret, you know? As long as you don't got to pay off 100 people, you know? You keep that tight to the vest. There was so much at stake, but then also, I think that ended the movie on such a high note.
Yeah.
Well, okay. It's a high note, but a downer ending, kind of like Kevin Smith says in Clerks. It's a series of down endings, which is also what makes the movie so kind of like relevant in culture, because like, movies don't end that way.
Yeah, it's one of the few movies that like I have in mind where like the villain actually wins in the end, and it's crazy.
Well, it's not even that. Yeah, it's not even that the villain wins. It's just like you know, they're winning the battle, but they didn't win the war. You know, like
they lost his battle.
Han sealed up in carbonite, and you know, Luke's kind of like lost off in his training, whatever.
Luke's fucking chopped up over there.
Yeah. After that, like emotionally broken. Everyone else is, you know, very similar to kind of the way that stupid Last Jedi ended, because they can't decide to figure out any other way to capitalize on these emotions.
Lando is a fucking asshole, switches sides real quick.
Come on. Which is, again, it's kind of like Benicio del Toro, that's stupid. Why would they ever trust him? Why did you trust Lando in the first place? But
C-3PO's fucked up too. He's somewhere over there in pieces.
And that, I think, created so many expectations for Jedi, like almost to a fault. Like I think Jedi gets a lot of, we're going to talk about it next week, but you know, it gets a lot of flack for certain aspects of it, but also because the expectations were so gosh darn high.
Yeah.
You know, because George Lucas and company were just bringing it so hard, you know, back in 1980s greatest cinematic treasure. In a year that I think it was same year that Raiders came out.
Was it?
Same year in Crew? What was it? The same year that Indiana did? A great year in cinema, I'm sure. But a point being, a lot going on at the time, and at the top of the heap, Empire Strikes Back.
Yep.
Hell yeah. Check out our other episodes if you want to subscribe. Comment below. Tell us what you want to watch, any other series. We were talking about maybe dipping our toes into the Marvel pool a little bit more seriously.
I think we should do that.
Marvel on marijuana.
Come back next week. We might talk about Return of the Jedi.
We might.
Oh, we should.
It's in my calendar.
As long as we don't talk about the prequels.
Oh, yeah, you can call out for that one. It's all right. Me and Derrick will talk about the prequels. I'm sure his kids probably love the prequels.
I'm pretty sure all the kids love the prequels.
Shout out to Derrick. Follow him at Derrick Scott, the Derrick Scott. I'm just _Gentile. Nope, Justin _Gentile on Twitter. At Just Gentile on Instagram. You can read it. I don't have to say it.
And I'm Byron at _LordB. Thanks for coming, you guys. Come back next week and have a great day.
Stay safe, stay high. See you next time.